Welcome in. It's the week 11 spreads of the week. We're going to run you through every single NFL spread this week and give our opinion on where the line will fall from Cleveland, Ohio, and from London, England. Mr. 55%, Mike joins me. How are you doing, Mike?
Good, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here as always. Yeah, it's going quite well for me this season. I'm enjoying it. I do feel though that there's always something lurking around the corner for me. A 3 or 4 game week potentially would really do my record in. So need to stay on the ball.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it could be worse. It could be me picking up 48%. I would be losing a fair bit chunk of money at the moment. So let's see if I can resurrect this for the final 7 weeks. They're really flying through these weeks these days. Goodness.
Yeah, I know. It's this time of the year. It's sort of rattling along towards the end of the season. It really catches up with you. It's almost playoff time. Goodness.
Well, yeah. And speaking of a playoffs, could be a matchup we see coming into the late season here in the extended playoff. A nice Thursday night win for your Eagles. Care to talk us through that? I know you took the Eagles on the spread, so another nice win for you there.
Yeah, I a little bit of local knowledge, watching a lot of NFC East football. Just the Commanders are quite light up front. A lot of a lot of Dan Quinn defenses tend to be lighter personnel, and the Eagles just filled their boots to the tune of 228 yards rushing. There's a slow burn.
Ooh.
We missed several field goals, and the Commanders hung around. We played played gamely, to be honest. They're a very good team, I think, this year, the Commanders. Daniel's a little
Yeah,
banged up. They had a tough game last week against the Steelers. I just fancied the Eagles here at home on a 5 game win streak, now a 6 game win streak. So we'll see what
yeah,
happens on the return in Washington. I think that'll be a bit even closer still. So yeah, a good
I
start to
think
the
so.
week for me.
Yeah, for sure. I think Washington blew a couple chances there, but before the end of the half, they could have kind
Yeah.
of put the game down just a bit, but some drop passes, etc. A little sloppy for them. But yeah, a nice cover for you to start the week. And I go 0-1. Not having much luck in these prime time games these days, but let's get to the Sunday slate here. It's usually where I fare a little better.
Yeah, yeah, a little hitch in your giddy up there, Matthews. Yeah, you're a little bit more excited for the Sunday games. Sunday,
Nice
1
sleep.
p.m. You know where you stand.
Yeah.
Well, this is where we
Oh,
stand.
what a shocker.
Rams at Pats. Now, who's going
Yeah,
first?
I think you're picking first this week.
Okie
You
doke.
have you have done this one.
So I have the Rams as a 4.5 point favorite. Would you say that's correct?
Uh, yeah, 4.5.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Well, the Patriots have won a couple here recently. Playing better, as we said last week. I think did we both pick them last week to cover?
Yeah, yeah, we
Yeah.
both.
I
I
think
had some
Drake
money.
May. I think Drake May is quietly having a very nice rookie season, actually. So I think I normally would take a 4.5 point home dog, but the Rams got a nice win at home against Miami, who I think are a better team than the Patriots. I just think they might come cross country here and get themselves back to 500. And I don't think there'd be any shame in sort of May having a slightly off week and dropping a game here. It's not very likely that rookie quarterbacks win 3, 4, 5 on the bounce. Not many are CJ Stroud. So I'm just going to take the Rams here.
The Rams lost to the Dolphins. Correction
Oh,
there.
goodness me, they did. Yeah. Well, I'm still
Yeah,
going with it. I'm still going with it.
yeah. No, that makes. I mean, that was actually going to factor into my decision. I think this is a. If they hadn't lost that, they might even be a touchdown favorite here. But I think the bookies have corrected a little bit. So I was going to side with you. I'm going to take the Rams. I don't see the Pats being that much of a threat. I think the Rams might have just been a little off last Monday night. Expect McVay to get that unit back together here for the cross-country trip.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And the Rams with a lot to play for still. If they win,
Oh yeah.
um, if they win sort of 60% of their remaining games, they'll in the expanded playoff they'll still make the playoffs. So they need to start winning games here down the stretch.
Hmm.
Well, a really good one here. Baltimore at Pittsburgh, a classic rivalry.
Yeah.
Um, the Ravens and Steelers going to trade some paint in this one, Matthews. What do you think?
Yeah, this is lovely. I think the line's about right here. We've got 3 point spread in favor of the Ravens, but
Yeah.
it's a divisional game at Pittsburgh. It's a bit odd to me, that line, because the Ravens defense hasn't shown they can stop anyone. Um, Now, running it against the Steelers has been a little better than trying to sit back and pass it, so I'd expect them to employ that. But I still think it's really hard for me to bet against the Steelers team. They just seem to cover these spreads all the time. I didn't think they'd be able to beat the Redskins, the Commanders, sorry, last week, but they did. And I think at home, it's just such a crazy atmosphere. I was talking to a lad last week who went there for a Monday night game, and he said the atmosphere was off the charts. So I
Wow.
expect that to be pumped up again for the divisional, and it's just a hard place to go and win. So I'm going to take the Steelers to probably win the game there.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that. Take the Steelers too. I kind of want to see it. The Ravens don't feel like a 7-3 team to me. They haven't played
Mm.
that well on defense all season, and Lamar Jackson, when he's just having to drop back and throw, uh, is I still have reservations about him. I'm sorry, I do. It just hasn't. He hasn't even developed, I'd say, as much as like a Jalen Hurts potentially throwing over the middle of the field. So I think that's what the Steelers will do. I think Mike Tomlin will find a way to make them one-dimensional and have to throw it. And then in Pittsburgh, I expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to come through and win.
Yeah, for sure. I can't fault that. I think one of the surprising teams of the year for sure. If they go eight and
Yeah,
two, that's insane, insane coaching job.
absolutely. Wow. One game that I mean, you'd have to have family playing either for the Raiders or the Dolphins to be tuning into this one for the full 60. Uh, Raiders at Dolphins, my word. I mean, I assume the Dolphins are quite a big favorite. Yeah, 7.5 points. No, no, no. I'll be taking the Raiders on this one. The Dolphins haven't blown anybody out. They're a 3-6 football team. Just be sensible here and just back the Raiders defense to keep it closer than the experts expect. So yeah, I'm taking the silver and black here, Tom.
Yeah, there's a lot of points,
It's
but
a
the
lot of
Dolphins,
more
yeah,
than that's
Dolphins got an 8 point win against the Rams though. That was
that's true.
unexpected.
That's true.
Oh, mm, I've got to no. Okay, I'm just going to take the Dolphins here. The Raiders are who I thought they were. I predicted them to have a blow up kind of season where they're going to need to fire everyone. So I got to stick with my gut here and just take the Dolphins, who are still in the playoff hunt themselves, to go and blow them out here at home. So Dolphins win for me.
Big news for the Raiders. Michael Mayer is back, Tom. That's going to make all the difference this week.
Ah, yes,
One of the
the
finest tight
running
ends ever to
tight
come out of
end.
Notre Dame. The Jags, the Jaguares heading to
This is monstrous. This
oh,
spread. This is the biggest we've seen all year, I think.
what is it?
It's a
Yeah,
40 point spread.
yeah,
Oh, my honor here. Is Let's see if Lawrence is fit, because that's
yeah. That's key. I'm
if he
guess.
isn't, yeah.
I'm guessing that's why it's so big. Surely, right? Because he isn't.
Oh, yeah, he's out. Lawrence is out. Oh dear. Yeah, you have to take the Lions. I mean, I've got a feeling the Jags will cover the 14, but mm, the Lions just too good. It's tough. I'm going to take the Lions though. I wouldn't be surprised if he differ here. Like.
No, no. I'm going to take the Lions too.
Yeah,
Mac Jones really struggled in a putrid affair for the Jags last week.
yeah, I
Um,
forgot about
the Lions are on firing on all cylinders. Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions last week. One of them was a Hail Mary, and another one was a not his fault. But then again, and it was against a much better defense than they'll be playing. They're at home in the dome. They're 8-1. That place is going to be going crazy on Sunday.
that.
This is like early Barry Sanders sort of territory for the Lions. They haven't been this good for 30 years. So yeah, I think the Lions will just rout the Jags here and probably put the nail in Dougie P's coffin here.
Yeah, I mean that's got to come soon, surely.
Yeah, yeah. If they get beaten by 30 points here, I think the Khans will just pull the trigger and to start planning for next season.
Yeah, yeah.
Vikings at Titans. Oof. Okay, what's the line? Minnesota -6. Yeah, and there you might expect that to be a bit of a bigger line, but the Titans defense, I say it every week, they are actually playing quite well. Um,
Mm.
and they compensate for what has been an absolutely miserable offense so far this year. Um, Sam Darnold has sort of regressed after that real hot streak he started the year out with, but I'm still going to take the Vikings here. I think I feel myself backing against the Titans every week, and I don't think it's done me too badly so far. So
No.
obviously with them being 2-7, so I'm just going to ride the Vikings here to win by a touchdown, and obviously that will cover.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I'm just looking here. Week 7, they didn't cover against the Bills. Week 8, the Titans got destroyed by Detroit, and then two failures to cover against the Patriots and Chargers here for the Titans. So
Yeah.
it's a real slippery streak for them. I have to agree. We're not making much fun of this today, Mike, but I have to say the Vikings are just a much better all-round football team. Even with Darnold's regression, he's still tossed 17 touchdowns, and they're very good in that first 15, where Darnold knows exactly where he needs to go. So I think the Vikings get up and just stay up here, cover that
Yeah.
touchdown.
Yeah. Aaron Jones, I think, might be out, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. The talent gap's too wide for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Colts at Jets. Not.
I think we're going to get stung on some of these spreads, by the way, now that we've agreed on all of them.
Yeah,
I just
100%.
need a big rousing Titans win there just to slate us.
They're crying into my Sunday roast there. Uh, uh, Colts at Jets.
Oh,
Thomas,
God.
we have
Good Lord.
Jets at -4.
Oh, yeah. This
What
could be
does
a washing affair here.
this?
This is
Could you imagine
ridiculous.
making?
You can't make the Jets favorites in any game. I mean, have bookies been watching anything? I know it's all done on an algorithm, but even with Anthony Richardson back, I'd still favor that Colts rush defense is very good. I can see them absolutely snuffling out the New York Jets here, and Rodgers doesn't seem to have many answers. I know you've been quite critical of his kind of just DIY approach this year, so I'm going to take the Colts here to cover. I don't think the Jets can be 4-point favorites against anyone in the NFL.
Ah, well, I agree. It's never good when we agree on everything. That normally, in the past few seasons, that means we have an absolutely abysmal week. Um, but I did ride the Colts coming in. I to a couple of early covers.
Mm.
Um, God, the Jets are playing some bad football. They played some really bad football against Arizona last week on defense, which is meant to be their superpower. Another mobile quarterback for them here in Anthony Richardson. I'm going to take the Colts as well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to agree. We're gonna have to agree to agree. Yeah, I just don't. I saw nothing from the Jets defense last week. I watched the all 22 of Kyler's performance on the QB school this week, and they just didn't have a clue how to defend that attack. And the
Yeah.
Colts will be coming with something similar. So yeah, I'm just going to take that as my reasoning.
Yeah, Colts might get a boost actually from the QB change. You never know. You have seen it with the Panthers a few times this year when that's happened. And yeah, this might
But
be one to stick money on, actually. This is a wrong line for me.
I do wonder when Richardson came back the first time and then he tapped himself out because he was tired and all that controversy. He did look like he'd come back slightly too soon. So if he's fully healthy now, like he was week 1 against the Texans, all right, he wasn't throwing a lot of completed passes, but he was throwing touchdowns from his
Yeah.
own 20-yard line. So I think, yeah, I'm quite happy taking the Colts here actually now. The more I think about it.
Yeah, for sure. I think it could be a one to lay a bit on. That's nice.
I've got to say, I'm going to miss this early slate of games for sure this week. And it's looking like a good one to miss because there is not a
Yeah.
lot going on here to get you excited, is there?
No,
Browns
God.
at Saints. The Saints
Yeah. The bookies didn't even want to call a line on this. They just made it -1.
-1.
They
And I
assume no
think
one will
that,
be betting.
I think that's, I think that's a fair reflection. Like you couldn't, um, necessarily call this one. Having said that, I backed against the Saints last week, saying the hoodoo in the dome was over. Lo and behold, as you correctly said, Tom, the new coach bounce came to effect. They got a much needed win last week against the Fal. Was it the Fal? It was the Falcons, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm going to take the Saints here. A 1 point home underdog after a win like that feels a bit insulting to me. Derek
Mm.
Carr's back. They've getting a lot of these injured players back, and yeah, I think Jameis Winston will want to prove himself in the dome, having played
Yeah.
there, and probably toss them a couple of interceptions. So yeah, I'm going to take the Saints here.
Disagree for once. Here we go. Browns coming in off a bye week. It sometimes means something. I think they've really started to unlock some of their receivers that just didn't catch any balls for about 2 years. At least Jameis is getting some of them involved. Cedric Tillman looking like quite a good player actually now. I think that bounce was good for week one, but I'm not sure the Saints will sustain that. A lot of those players just turning up for paychecks for me. So I'm going to take the Browns to come in and get I couldn't call it a renegade win because they're only 1 point underdogs anyway. But this just feels like a Browns grind it out kind of 20-15 win or something. A very close one.
Joke. Uh,
James Winston testimonial.
the Jameis Winston testimonial, yeah. Dear me, what a sad state of affairs that is. Um,
Goodness.
Green Bay at Chicago. Da Bears.
No, I
Um,
don't know.
Da Bears. You're on it, Tom here. What's the line? Minus
So
five and a half. Ha.
yeah. Um, this does seem like the time of year where I'm seeing trends develop, and some teams are just throwing the towel. And I mean, I have to say, no team embodies that more than the Bears. The Packers have really owned the Bears in this rivalry as of late. I pulled up the Packers spread numbers, and they've actually been very good against the spread as of late. I think they covered the last four. That's including when they were favourites. So I'm going to take the pack here to get this done in Soldier Field. Expect that crowd, as I've said before, to start turning on this team very early if the Packers get up early. Yeah, I just don't see where the Bears can win this offensively. They have little glubs. Sorry, what am I trying to say? A little lazy, should I say, as of late. So, yeah, I'm going to take the pack to get the job done here.
Ooh, yeah, me too. You don't normally like a line that big in a rivalry game, but the Bears, as you said, the wheels are off now, I think.
Mm.
Josh Jacobs is only questionable and only a part-time participant in practice this week. And he's actually made quite a big difference to them this year when he's been in and out of the lineup. But I'm still going to take the Packers because you can't, in good conscience. I think I've said this the last 2 or 3 weeks, and they've really done well for me, the Bears, by getting blown out by people as I've been calling against them, and that trend's going to follow here, I think. And I think the Packers could win quite handily. And as you say, the Boo Birds will be out. I mean, if the Packers win by 20, I mean, you could see Eberflus losing his job as well. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and just yeah, just trying to get a little bump, try and scrape into the playoffs still without him. But yeah, let's wait and see.
Hmm.
Um, Atlanta at Denver, this late slate looking much more tempting on the appetite.
Oh, yeah.
On the palate here. Falcons at Broncos. Um, as we know,
Good.
as I know, you've been backing those bucking Broncos all season, Matthews. They're a 2 point favorite here in Mile High.
Mm.
Um, is it me first? Yes.
Yeah, it's you.
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Falcons here. Yeah, they lost in quite embarrassing fashion on the road um, to the Saints last week, and I think this feels like a bit of a get right game for them. It
Mm.
won't be high scoring, hence the line. But I think the Falcons might come and nick this one by a field goal. They feel like a 7-4 team to me, and the Broncos feel like a 5-6 team to me. So that works out quite nicely. And yeah, Bo Nix hasn't really. He's doing okay. He's doing fine for a rookie, but he hasn't really kicked on to a point where I think he takes down good teams at home, and it's kind of like a routine home win. That doesn't feel
Mm.
like sort of stage of development he's at yet. So I'm quite happy to take the Falcons here. I imagine you'll be
Yep.
differing.
Yep, this is differ. Yep,
Yeah.
not much surprise there for me. The Broncos 70% against the spread on the season. I had a look earlier, 7-3. So pretty much doing what they thought I would, who they thought I was, who I thought they were. Sorry. So I'm gonna take the Broncos. One thing about them, they've got the rushing game going. Javonte Williams is back and healthy, and that's aided them a little bit there. Also, the Falcons going outdoors here to Denver in November. I don't know about that. Let's see if they've got the moxie to put up with that weather there. So I'm going to take the Broncos here to get this thing done. Just too good at home for me.
Coupons or Kirk Cousins will have to go back to his Michigan State days here, channel some of those cold weather games. Um, this is always a good game. I know neither of these teams have really set the world on fire this season, but this is always a really chippy fixture and one that I enjoy watching. So we've got Hawks at Niners, and the spread is ooh, Nelly. San Fran
Yeah.
6.5 point favorites.
So the Seahawks have not fared well against the Niners as of late. The Niners really had their number in this game. Begrudgingly, I'm going to take the Niners here to cover the touchdown and get this thing done. They just know each other too well, and it's just not a good matchup for the Seahawks. The Niners are always getting guys open, running it a lot on that front, the Seahawks front, which hasn't proven itself to me defensively. And then Gino is just making too many mistakes here. They turn it over once, it could be game over here. So I think it's a handy Seahawks cover at home. Hate to say it though. Sorry, handy Niners cover.
Yeah. Um, Hey, did you see Lenore? That's the slot corner getting a 5-year deal worth $90 million from the 49ers.
Oh, what's it?
Crazy. I did like him. I actually really liked him coming out of Oregon, but that is, I wanted the Eagles to take him. I remember that. He was a lower round pick. He was one of my
Mm,
sneaky likes from that draft. I think it must have been 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, that's just
mm.
crazy. I just thought it just struck me as crazy money.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
I I don't have a logical reason to disagree with you. Um, the illogical reason is that it just feels like in the NFC West, the away teams just come and win these games when they're not supposed to, and then
Yeah,
you just then you've got egg on your face.
yeah,
But I'm with you. The Seahawks pass the ball way too much. They've become extremely unbalanced, and I don't know. I mean, Gino's on pace to throw for over 4,000 yards, but he's also turning it over at quite a high rate, as you said. So I'm going to take the Niners here. They've got McCaffrey back on a full pitch count this week, which will help.
mm,
Um, and yeah, they've got Debo back in that more gadget role instead of using him as an out and out receiver. They're kind of going back to that vintage where they got to their first Super Bowl under Shanahan, and I think that kind of suits them more than the spread it out, throw it offense they were at the start of the season, which took everybody by surprise. Really, I'm assuming they went that route because McCaffrey was injured, but I'm going to take the Niners here. I just feel like they're too good a football team. They're too well coached. They've got too many good. They've got too good a personnel. I just think they'll go on
yeah.
like a 5-6 run game tear here and come into the playoffs hot, which will be
Yeah.
dangerous for
This
everybody in the
is the
NFC.
time when they usually start playing their best football, to be fair to them. So that
Yeah,
makes sense.
this would be like different team, but this would be like when Aaron Rodgers' Packers would get hot in the sort of the late in like the 2010s. They would just get hot this time of year and roll into the playoffs with a big win streak under their belts, and it just made you dread playing them. So I feel like that might be what's happening with the Niners here,
Yeah, for sure.
and they'd come and beat my Eagles all the time. Right, Chiefs at Bills, standalone for me, game of the week. There are some other good ones, but this is a high quality affair. This is probably going to be the AFC Championship game in my view as well. Get a
Yeah.
first look at it here in Buffalo. Um, you're obviously going to pick this one, Matthews, first. What do you got? What do you got?
Yep. Chiefs are two
Oh,
and a
sorry.
half point underdogs here. -2 there, but I got 2.5.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll go with that. Go with that. Go with that. We don't want the
yeah,
one.
I don't know if it's gone in or out from what it started, but obviously a lot of money going in on the game. Um, so I'm going to take the Chiefs to cover. I'll state that early. I don't know how you would make the Chiefs underdogs in any game at the moment. Until they lose a game, I'm not sure what the logic for that would be. They could go in here and get stomped by the Bills. Josh Allen running might be a problem. Expect Nick Bolton to run a spy job on him to see how that goes. I just think it's a good matchup for us, and the Chiefs find a way to win these games, be it by special teams or some gadget play to Xavier Worthy. I just think we'll throw something at the Bills here, and it's not just going to be a grind it out, you run it, we run it game. Expect some interesting plays here. The Walrus will be really rolling up his sleeves for a good opponent, and maybe even Carson Wentz and some gadget plays. You never know. I just think the playbook's gonna be rolled out in this one for me. So Chiefs to win on the road here at the Bills.
Yeah, I was kind of on the fence with this one. As you might expect, it's going to be a very close game, but I'm going to side with your knowledge of the Chiefs. And having watched a few of these matchups down the years, you'll have seen the same thing I've seen, really, which is they're very close, and then the Bills find a way to throw it away at the end, and they haven't changed too much of the personnel. Um, I guess the play call has changed, but I think for me the Chiefs, as you say, you can't really back against them in terms of I've been backing against them not covering these big lines they've been getting. Um,
Hmm.
that's not the kind of football team that they've built this season. They're especially with D Hop and Kelsey now as the one and two. They're very much a possession team. They want to keep the ball. They'll want to keep Josh Allen off the field. So I'd be looking at the Chiefs to cover the point spread and the under on total points here. I think this one will be people will be very upset. More casual fans will be very upset. This isn't more explosive offensively. But
Yeah,
I think both teams, the Bills this year have shown a propensity to try and establish the run as well.
yeah.
I think there could be a lot of I think it could be a lower scoring game than people think, and the Chiefs nick it at the end,
I think, yeah.
win by a field goal.
Yeah, I think Isaiah Pacheco may be back for this one as well, which would be quite nice.
To
Nice
be
for
honest,
us.
I've been enjoying Hunt's running in the interim though. They've just been they
Very,
haven't been
very angry.
Yeah, and they haven't faffed around either. It's a lot of gap. It's a lot of duo, smash you in the
Yeah.
face, and then with that interior offensive line, and then throw to D Hop and Kelsey off play action. It's a time honored formula. So I think that Mahomes is he hasn't thrown a pick for a while. I think he might just be finding himself here as we get
Settling
to
down.
his
Yeah.
time here, right? Playoff season.
Yeah, Mr. November.
Yeah, cool. I think that's not it, is it? What am I talking about?
I've got a couple.
We have two more spreads to do, Matthews. No, no.
Oh, I've been critical of Sunday Night Football, but they've given us some good games the last few weeks. We're
Yeah.
getting away from the historical teams now always being on Sunday nights. Get some actual good teams with winning records on the program, which is useful for viewership, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, as I suspected, the Chargers have been made a 1.5 point favorite here. I think that's fair, obviously, given the records and recent form.
Hmm.
I'm going to take the Bengals here. I think the Bengals, obviously, you and I call them the Bungles. They find a way to lose these games in prime time or on a big road trip.
Hmm.
But it's not a very hostile atmosphere in LA. It's indoors, which Joe Burrow will absolutely love. And I just think the Bengals might get on a little run here and sneak into the playoffs as a low seeded team. And they'll probably be competing against the Chargers for that honor. I just think the Chargers have had a nice, easy fixture run recently, and they've you can only beat what's in front of you, right? That they've beaten some pretty poor teams. So
Yeah.
I think this is probably the highest quality opposition they've faced in 2 or 3 weeks, and I think the Bengals just kind of nick a win here.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that does make sense. I absolutely see the Bengals getting on these runs now. Burrow playing some excellent football. I'm going to disagree and take the Chargers. I'm a broken record here, but that Bengals rush defense is there to be for the taking. And against Harbaugh, He's really going to be licking his lips all week with that, and scheming up a lot of inside runs to target those rather meek defenders on the inside there. So expect a lot of J.K. Dobbins, and then they're throwing off play action here to try and get the job done. So I'm going to take the Chargers to win. Chargers have surpassed my expectations for them. I thought they would be an 8-9 football team. They might end with a winning record. So I'm going to take him to win this. Although I expect like you said, I do expect that air to be let out of their balloon at some point. Let's just see if it's this week. It's a close game, this one. Very close.
Yeah, just instinctively, I think the Bengals' rush defense has got a little bit better, and they're sort of back towards the middle of the pack here. And
Mm,
the Chargers really haven't been able to run it that effectively. So I think that could be a factor. And then I don't know who's going to cover Jamar Chase for the Chargers. They're really, really thin at
mm.
corner. And yeah, Chase can just take you apart as we saw last week. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way I'm going. I'm going for the I'm going for the Bengals. Oh, well, I mean, obviously, to be fair, when they picked at the beginning of the season, you'd have said this would be an excellent Texas derby. But now this is obviously a putrid affair with Dak done for the year. Houston are only a 7.5 point favorite. Sorry, it's your honor. I'll let you go first, but I think you can tell which way I'm going on this. My word.
I don't know, but the Texans have just been disappointing lately. I don't know if I can take the Texans to cover 7.5, even against a backup at Dallas. I think this might just be like a big brother, little brother thing where the Cowboys just remind the Texans where they sit in the pantheon of Texas professional football. So I'm going to take a Cowboys, quite a handy Cowboys cover here, actually. I just don't see the Texans winning by 8 points. It's a big margin for me. So despite the Cowboys' flaws, it's going to be the Cowboys to cover for me.
No, I can't in good conscience take the Cowboys. I'm sorry. I mean, Micah Parsons is an absolute threat, but the Texans O line is very good, very solid. I think Stroud was much improved last week against the Lions. It's really his defense that let him down more than anything. Nico Collins is questionable, but I expect him to play just because they've dropped a couple of games here. I think they need Nico back on the field. So if Nico plays, I think it could be a 14-point win here for the Texans, just because the Cowboys, whether it's Cooper Rush